Concept Video Sports presents high school videos like no other video media outlet in Northwest Indiana. We support our student athletes by offering all of our sports videos for free download 2 weeks following their posting. And this evening, it's two of the younger programs in the region when the Hanover Central Wildcats take on the Boone Grove Wolves. The Hanover Central Wildcats, under third-year head coach Pete Koulianos, have come out of the gate swinging and winners of their first 4 contests. The Wildcats, in only their 4th season with the football program, have improved their record every year since their existence. Pete Koulianos' team is trying to improve on last year when they ran the regular season table before losing in the second round of the sectionals to Mishawaka Marion. The Wildcats are state-ranked at 14 in the media poll, but fell out of the state coaches poll even with the victories. The Boone Grove Wolves, under first-year skipper Dan Kukulski, heads a team that is also in its infancy, playing in only their 7th full season. The Wolves, winners of only 2 games in 2016, have already matched that plateau, defeating the Lake Station Eagles and the high-powered Whiting Oilers in their 2 previous games, and each of those contests were played on the road. The Wolves lost to the Wildcats last season for the first time ever, but today they hope to make a statement and take back those bragging rights when the Hanover Central Wildcats visit the Boone Grove Wolves. Today's venue is Valparaiso High School, this year's home field for the Boone Grove Wolves. And we would like to thank our sponsors for making tonight's game and your free download possible. Doctors Tim and Lisa Mullally of Crown Point, the law office of Roy Dominguez in Maryville, J&J's Pizza Shack and their 7 Northwest Indiana locations, Oak Partners Wealth and Retirement Management in Crown Point and Valparaiso, and Blythe's Athletics in Valparaiso, where the athlete shops. Enjoy the game. Once again, the venue tonight is Valparaiso High School, Boone Grove's home field on this evening. And the fans from each school are right beneath us, and the reason you might see an empty visitor section across the field. But on a warm late summer evening, both schools are well represented here tonight. The James Delane kickoff was finally grabbed by Brandon Van, and he was knocked out of bounds quickly by Bon Scott Young. So the home team, the Boone Grove Wolves, will start offensively from their own 25-yard line. Taking the snaps on this evening for the Wolves is Dylan Paul, and he handed off to Brayton Van, and he picked up maybe a yard on the carry before Graydon Heater made the stop. It was right back to Brayton Van up to the 30, and a 3rd and 5 next up. This time it was a pitch to Van, and with his speed he was able to turn the corner and pick up an early first down for the Wolves. Next, it was Cameron Pfeiffer for a yard on the carry. On 2nd and 9 for the Wolves, it was a pitch to Brayton Van on the right side this time, and he followed his block and was able to pick up 4 yards on the run. So now another important early 3rd down try for the Boone Grove Wolves. But before the snap, an encroachment penalty on the Wildcats made the 3rd down attempt a bit easier, and now the Wolves will try again, but this time a 1st and 10 from their own 47. The ball was handed to Brayton Van. He bounced his way inside Hanover Central territory to the 49-yard line. Then on first pass attempt of the game, a play action. The pocket collapsed and Dylan Paul was sacked for a loss by Adam Anderson and John Miller. So now the Wolves are looking at a 3rd and 12 from inside their own territory at the 45-yard line. This time, and out of the shotgun, Dylan Paul on a 4-step drop fired a pass to Jake Mirsky, who made the catch on the near sideline, before Wyatt Changlos knocked him out of bounds and a 9-yard gain. Now the Wolves face a 4th and 3 from the 46-yard line. and decision time for Boone Grove head coach Dan Krakulski. So Boone Grove decided on a 4th down attempt, and the ball was handed to Brayton Van, who was tripped up short of the marker, and the Hanover Central Wildcats will take over on downs. So on 1st and 10 from their own 44-yard line, and taking the snaps for the visitors is senior James DeLange. And out of the shotgun, DeLange handed the ball to Bon Scott Young, and he was able to carry just inside the midfield stripe at the 49, and a 2nd down coming up. Then on 2nd and 3, it was James DeLange on the keeper, and he was able to turn the corner and pick up a 1st down at the Boone Grove 46. On 1st down, the ball was handed to senior David Kruger, and he was stacked up at the line of scrimmage for no gain on the carry. Next, it was Bon Scott Young, who was stacked up behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 1 on the play. Now on 3rd and 11 and out of the shotgun, James DeLange took the snap, dropped back, and before he could get his feet set, the Wolves attacked the Wildcat quarterback and dropped him for a loss inside Hanover Central territory at the 45-yard line, and a punt next up. The David Kruger punt was grabbed at the 20-yard line by Zach Beatty, and he was able to pick up a few yards on the return before being wrestled down at the 28, and a 1st and 10 next up for the Wolves. On 1st down, it was Brayton Van for 6 yards on the carry. Next, it was senior Brandon Van getting in on the action, and on a nice run carried the ball up to the 46 and a Wolves 1st and 10. It was back to Brayton Van for 3 yards on the run. The ball was handed to Brayton Van again, and he picked up only a couple this time. So Boone Grove is looking at a 3rd and about 5. It was right back to sophomore Brayton Van, and he was able to pick up the yardage needed for a 1st and 10. Now from the Wildcat 44, it was Van again, but this time he was dropped behind the line of scrimmage by Cody Eby, and a loss of 2 on the play. Before the Wolves could get off the next snap, the period came to an end, and we're tied at 0, back in 40 seconds. Located in Maryville, the law office of Roy Dominguez offers compassionate, caring representation in personal injury and criminal defense. If you or someone you love has been injured, you can be sure the law office of Roy Dominguez will help alleviate some of the difficulties you are facing. Attorney Roy Dominguez wishes all Northwest Indiana athletes the best of luck this season.
Hello, my name is Dr. Tim Mullally.
And I'm Dr. Lisa Mullally.
We're the founding members of Indiana Sports and Medical Science Institute out of Crown Point, Indiana.
We offer both family practice services and sports medicine services. We see patients from age newborn all the way through geriatrics. If you're in need of a sports medicine physician or just a family doctor, give us a call today. We have same-day appointments. We hope to hear from you.
So now on 2nd and 12, the ball found the hands of Brayton Van for a short gainer of 3 yards on the 2nd down play, and a Boone Grove timeout on the field. On 3rd and about 9 for the Wolves, Dylan Paul let one fly downfield. But there with the leap and interception was senior Jose Sanchez, and the Hanover Central Wildcats are back in business. On a play that never developed, James DeLang out of the shotgun looked left, then rolled out of the pocket. But there, dropping the Wildcat play caller was Brian Spears, and a loss on the play. Then on 2nd and 17 from the 15-yard line, a design quarterback keeper went nowhere when the Wolves on the attack, led by Zach Beatty, sacked DeLang, and another loss on the play. And now a 3rd and long for the visitors. This time it was DeLang on the keeper, picking up a few but way short of the marker, and a Wildcat punt. The Hanover Central punt was grabbed at the Wildcat 48 by Zach Beatty, and he was dropped almost immediately by Adam Graham on a nice tackle. But the Boone Grove Wolves have great field position, with the game still knotted at 0. From the Wildcat 46 on 1st and 10, and out of the shotgun, the ball was handed to Cameron Pfeiffer for a couple yards before being stripped of the ball. But the ruling on the field was that Cameron's forward progress had already been stopped. On 2nd and 6 from the Wildcat 42, it was Brayton Van fighting his way to the 40. It was back to Van, and he just picked up enough yardage to move the chains. And now the Boone Grove Wolves are threatening. From the 36 on 1st and 10, it was workhorse Brayton Van. But there in pursuit was Brett Driscoll with a nice tackle and a loss of 3 on the play. On 2nd and 13, it was a Dylan Paul to Brandon Van incomplete pass. And now the Wolves are looking at a 3rd and long. This time in the spread offense, a pass over the middle intended for Taylor Piazza fell incomplete, and decision time again for the Wolves. So another 4th down attempt, this time 4th and a bunch. Out of the shotgun, Dylan Paul dropped back. He looked like he was going to cut it up the middle. Then out of the pocket, found Jake Mirsky all alone at the 30. And he knew where the marker was. And a huge 1st and 10 for Boone Grove, with the game still tied at 0 at 6.5 minutes to play in the half. Now on 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line, it was Brandon Van back in the game. But he was tracked down quickly for a short loss on the play by Jose Sanchez again. And he's playing a fine half. On 2nd and 10, it was Brayton Van this time. And while almost losing the ball, was able to pick up a yard. And now the Wolves have a 3rd and long from the original line of scrimmage. This time, Paul took a few-step drop, then tucked it away for a gain of about 6. Now another 4th down try for the home team. Finally, on 4th down, a pass attempt from Dylan Paul to Taylor Piazza was juggled, then dropped, and the Wildcats made the stop. Taking over on downs, Hanover Central has a 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line, with plenty of time to play in the half. On the keeper, it was a 7-yard gain by James DeLang, who was upended on the play on a nice Jake Mirsky tackle. It was another quarterback keeper, and somehow James DeLang was able to carry across the 30. But all for naught, when a holding penalty will move the ball back to the 16, and the Wildcats will replay 2nd down. On 2nd and 13, a quick DeLang to Graydon Heater strike picked up about 7 yards on the play. And now a makeable 3rd down for the Cats. This time it was Brett Driscoll on the carry. And a big Hanover Central 1st down at the 36. And time becoming a factor with 2.5 minutes left in the half. On 1st down, it was Boone Grove's Ryan Deswicki making the play, sacking Wildcat quarterback James DeLang, and the clock continues to run. Now on 2nd and 16 from the 30, it was DeLange on the carry up to the 34, and a 3rd and 12 next up. Again, it was another DeLange keeper, and a nice gain this time, and a 1st and 10 near the midfield stripe at the Wildcat 48. This time it was DeLange rolling left, but coming through untouched, and another quarterback sack for the Wolves was Brian Spears, and the Cats had time for one more play. Well, it was the final play and another Boone Grove sack, this time by Cameron Pfeiffer, and time has run out in the first half. We expected a close game coming in, but not a defensive display like we've seen thus far. At the half, the Hanover Central Wildcats 0, the Boone Grove Wolves 0. Back with second half action in 40 seconds. J&J's Pizza Shack of Northwest Indiana has a variety of dinners and sandwiches on their menu to satisfy any appetite. But for the best pizza in the region, featuring the kitchen sink, it's J&J's Pizza Shack and their 7 Northwest Indiana locations. Check out their Hobart location and their new dine-in facility, and watch sports videos from New Concept Video Sport. BioOak Partners Wealth and Retirement Planning in Crown Point and Valparaiso. They provide comprehensive investment consulting services with the goal of increasing their clients' wealth and protecting their financial future. Tune into their radio program, Making Finance Personal, every Monday morning at 9 on WJOB. Boone Grove kicked off to begin third quarter action, and we're still tied at 0. The boot rolled out of bounds, which is a Wolves penalty, and will give the Hanover Central Wildcats decent field position to begin third quarter play. On first down, a quick pass over the middle to Graydon Heater, but he couldn't find the ears on the ball, and it went incomplete. Then a low snap that James DeLange could not handle. The ball was loose, but recovered by the Wildcats quarterback. And now Hanover Central is looking at a 3rd and long. But before the next snap, an encroachment penalty on the Wolves will move the ball back to the original line of scrimmage. And now the visitors are looking at a 3rd and 10. Out of the shotgun, the ball was snapped. James DeLange took one step toward the line, then optioned the ball to Bon Scott Young for a nice gainer, and a Hanover Central first down. But on the play, a big Boone Grove penalty. Roughing the passer will move the ball inside Wolves territory, down to the 39, and a 1st and 10 for the visitors. Out of the shotgun again, DeLange handed the ball to Bon Scott Young, and he picked up 4 yards on the run. On 2nd and 6 from the 35, it was right back to senior Bon Scott Young, and he found a huge hole the offensive line opened for him. He then slid out of a tackle and went the distance. Hanover Central's Bon Scott Young on this evening's first score ran it in from 35 yards out, and the visitors lead 6-0. The Wildcat extra point was good, so with 10:24 left in the third, the Hanover Central Wildcats draw first blood and lead the Boone Grove Wolves by 7. The DeLange kickoff was a touchback, so the Wolves will be on offense from their own 20-yard line. On first down, the ball was handed to Brandon Van, and he carried for 4 where he was dragged down. Next, it was Brayton Van and another 4 yards gained, bringing up a third and a makeable 2 for the Wolves. But before the snap, an infraction, and fingers began to point in each direction. But the foul was on Boone Grove. A false start penalty will move the ball back to the 23, and a longer 3rd and 7 next up. Then out of the shotgun, Dylan Paul took the snap, then fired a short pass to Taylor Piazza, who made the catch, but was dropped for only a 2-yard gain by sophomore Jack Kuiper, and a Boone Grove punt. The punt took a Hanover Central bounce and was down at the Wolves' 47, and once again, good field position for the Cats. But then a break the Boone Grove Wolves needed when the ball slipped through James DeLange's hands on the snap. Then right there keeping the play alive was Brayton Van. Next, the ball was jarred loose and finally pounced on by Austin Lamar. And the Boone Grove Wolves will have their own good field position at the 40 with 7:54 left in the 3rd. On first down, Dylan Paul took the snap, then dropped back about 7 yards, realized nothing was open, then tucked it away and zigzagged his way down to the 23. And the Boone Grove Wolves are threatening. It was Dylan Paul again, this time on the keeper for 4 yards. On 2nd and 6 from inside the red zone at the 19-yard line, Cameron Pfeiffer took the handoff and ran up the gut, down to the 12, and another Boone Grove 1st and 10. Next, it was Brandon Van's turn, but he was tripped up and dropped for a loss of 1 on the play. But before the snap, a procedure call on the Wolves will move the ball back to the 17, and a replay of first down, this time 1st and 15. Out of the shotgun, it was Dylan Paul with a 2-step drop. He then targeted Taylor Piazza, but the pass fell incomplete. But on the play, a Wildcat interference call will make it an automatic 1st and 10 inside the 10-yard line at the 8. Then on 1st and goal, it was senior Brandon Van on a nice run down to the 2, and a 2nd and goal next up. This time it was Cameron Pfeiffer into a sea of players for a gain of maybe a half a yard on the carry, bringing up a 3rd and a half a yard to go. Finally, it was Brayton Van in for the touchdown, and we're an extra point away from a tie ball game again. As they say sometimes, it's better to be lucky than good. The extra point attempt was mishandled, but without panic, Dylan Paul picked up the ball and looked for Brandon Van, who was heading for the end zone. Then a quick toss to Van, and he took it in for the deuce. And all of a sudden, the Boone Grove Wolves have the momentum and the lead. The Boone Grove kickoff went out of bounds, and that's a penalty. So the Hanover Central Wildcats will take over from their own 35, trailing now in this game by a point. On the first down snap, it was Bon Scott Young for a yard on the carry. Then on second down, James DeLange gave that yard right back on the keeper. And now a 3rd and long next up. But on the run, DeLange got a little banged up, so Coach Pete Koulianos called a timeout once the play clock ran down to give his quarterback a little time. Once play resumed, and with DeLange out of the shotgun this time, a 2-step drop, then a pass in the flats to Jack Kuiper, who was hit immediately by Brayton Van. And the Wildcats receiver wasn't able to hang on to the ball, and next a Hanover Central punt. The boot was grabbed at the 27-yard line by Brandon Van, and he carried to the 42, and the Wolves will be on the attack again. On first down, it was Brandon Van, but he was dropped for a yard loss on the carry. Then it was a pitch to Brayton Van, and he ran out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Then the officials called a late hit on Van by Wildcat Nick Ames, and that will give the Wolves a fresh set of downs inside Hanover Central territory at the 41-yard line. The first down snap was handed to Brayton Van, and he picked up 2 yards on the carry. Next, it was Cameron Pfeiffer for a couple more. Then on 3rd and 6 from the 37-yard line, it was Brandon Van again, but he was dropped for a yard loss. And now the Wolves are looking at a 4th and 7 and decision time again for Boone Grove. But first, we'll take a 20-second break and return with 4th quarter action with the Boone Grove Wolves leading the Hanover Central Wildcats by only a point. Blythe's Athletics in Valparaiso, whose team has been serving your team since 1959, is a leader in athletic apparel and equipment sales. Whether it's off the rack or customized to your specifications, Blythe's has the products and staff to serve you best. Trophies, embroidering, screen printing, athletic shoes, anything you're looking for, you'll find at Blythe's. Visit them today at teamblythes.com, where the athlete shops. So the Wolves have decided to make a 4th down attempt from the 37. And on the snap, Dylan Paul dropped back for about 8 yards. Looked right, then threw a pass in the direction to Brayton Van, who had blockers in front. He then sliced his way through the Wildcats secondary and in for the touchdown. A well-designed play by the Boone Grove Wolves coaching staff. The extra point attempt was good. So with 11:48 left in this game, the Boone Grove Wolves have opened up a 15-8 lead on the Wildcats, but this is still a one-possession game. On the kickoff, an offside penalty on the Wolves will move the ball back to the 35, and Boone Grove will have to re-kick. This time the ball was fielded at the 20-yard line by Brandon Demoff, and he carried for 5 yards before Brian Spears made the stop. So on 1st and 10 from the 25 and trailing in this one, it was James DeLange on the keeper for maybe a yard. This time a DeLange to David Kruger pass netted 7 yards, and now the Cats are looking at a 3rd and 2 from their own 33-yard line. Then on an important 3rd and 2 at this juncture of the game, it was James DeLange on the keeper, and he picked up more than enough yardage to move the chains, and a 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. It was DeLange again, and this time for 9 yards, and he's inside Wolves territory, down to the 46. On 2nd and 1 and still out of the shotgun, the ball was handed to Bon Scott Young, and he slipped his way forward for 2, and a fresh set of downs for the Hanover Central Wildcats. Next, it was DeLange running wide for 3 yards this time. On 2nd and 7, an incomplete pass, and a 3rd and 7 next up for the visitors. It was James DeLange on the keeper, but he came up about 4 yards short of the marker, and decision time again for the Wildcats. Then on the biggest 4th down attempt of the game for Hanover Central, a pass in the flash from DeLange to David Kruger, and a 1st and 10 for the Wildcats at the 28, with plenty of time left in this game for the visitors. This time it was Brandon Demoff on the carry, and for a moment it looked like he had some running room. But making the stop for the Wolves was Brian Spears and Bobby Johnson, holding the runner to a gain of 1 on the carry. So on 2nd and about 8.5 yards to go, a 3-step drop and a pass over the middle to Brandon Demoff, who was tackled a couple yards short of the marker. Then on 3rd and a long 2, a pass in the end zone that fell incomplete. And now the play of the game so far for the Wildcats. On 4th and 2, a James DeLange keeper, but he was tripped up a yard short of the marker, and the Boone Grove Wolves made the stop and will take over on downs with 5:35 left in this ball game. On 1st down, it was Brayton Van for no gain. Then it was a design quarterback keeper, and Dylan Paul carried up to the 27, and a 3rd and 4 next up. Next, it was Brayton Van cutting his way up to the 31, and a big 1st and 10 for the Wolves, leading by 8 with under 4 minutes left in the game. And all Boone Grove has to do is hold on to the ball. On 1st and 10, it was Cameron Pfeiffer for 3 yards on the carry. Then it was Brandon Van for 4, and a 3rd and 3 next up for the Wolves. The 3rd down snap was handed to Cameron Pfeiffer, and he carried for another Boone Grove 1st down up to the 42-yard line. Then on the very next play, Cameron Pfeiffer was handed the ball and fumbled while being tackled. and the Hanover Central Wildcats thought they recovered. But the ruling on the field is that the runner was down before losing the ball, and that the Wolves will retain possession. That didn't sit well with head coach Pete Koulianos, but watching the replay, it was hard to tell with the naked eye and in real time. But the Wolves might have caught a break. So that's the old ball game, folks, with the Boone Grove Wolves upsetting the previously unbeaten Hanover Central Wildcats in what was mostly a defensive but entertaining game nevertheless. Congrats to Dan Kukulski and the Wolves on their victory here tonight. We would like to thank Boone Grove Athletic Director Marcus Banning and Valparaiso High School for their hospitality on this evening. And we would like to thank our sponsors for making this game and your free download possible. Doctors Tim and Lisa Mullally of Crown Point, the Law Office of Roy Dominguez in Maryville, J&J's Pizza Shack and their 7 Northwest Indiana locations, Oak Partners Wealth and Retirement Management in Crown Point and Valparaiso, and Blythe's Athletics in Valparaiso, where the athletes shop. For New Concept Video Sports, this is Bob Guerrero.